We wish you a scary Christmas. Now, those are scenes and videos from the movie Krampus, a 2015 dark comedy horror movie from Universal Pictures. Now, be clear up front, we don't own any of the rights to any of that. We're just sharing it with you because it fits our theme today. And we do wish you a scary Christmas. Now, we've entered into the time of year where everyone's focus is on holiday cheer and goodwill. However, there is a European tradition that follows closely hand in hand that isn't so cheerful or jolly. Parts of Europe still celebrate the festival of St. Nicholas on December 6th, which is tomorrow. So tomorrow is the feast of St. Nicholas. But on the night before, December the 5th, which is today, there is another lesser known celebration of sorts called, and I've been trying to pronounce this German word and I can't get it, Krampus or something like that, but it's Krampus night, when a wicked, hairy devil roams the streets. Now, actually, people just dress up and run around as Krampus. This devil, known as Krampus, has been known to accompany St. Nicholas. Now, where St. Nick passes out gifts and treats to the good children, Krampus concerns himself with the bad children. If a child has been bad, Krampus gives out coal or sticks on the lighter side. But he's also been known to beat them with birch sticks or reeds and even kidnap the children, carrying them away in a sack or a basket to eat them later or take them off to hell. The Krampus are sometimes dressed in the black rags, wearing a black face and unruly black hair. In many contemporary portrayals, he looks like a dark, sinister, or rustic version of St. Nicholas himself, with a similar costume but a darker color scheme. Also described as a half demon, half goat, with red eyes, large horns, and cloven hooves, and sometimes one human foot. Where was that picture? I showed it to you earlier. There it is. And an extremely long tongue, and he's adorned with chains and bells. Today we're going to take a look at Krampus and some of his supposed appearances and the stories. Now, Jacob Grimm, if you recall Grimm's fairy tales, actually mentions Krampus in a book he wrote called Teutonic Mythologies. He associated this character with the pre-Christian house spirit, the kobold or elf. What does that remind you of? House elf. I wonder if this might be where she got the idea. Now, this house spirit or elf could be benevolent or malicious, but whose mischievous side was emphasized after Christianization. The association of the Christmas gift bringer with elves has parallels in English and Scandinavian folklore and is ultimately and remotely connected to the Christmas elf in the modern American folklore. Now, as if we get into all this, you'll see that some people have tried to tone this down, I guess, in the States, and basically remove Krampus to where it's Santa Claus that leaves the coal or the box of sticks or whatever. But the way it all started, it wasn't St. Nick and it wasn't Santa Claus. Now, anthropologist John Honigman observed in 1975 that some Austrians that they studied were quite aware of the heathen elements that were being blended with the Christian elements. And that's what happened. Krampus was this legend, and it started being melded in with the Christian elements. And they believe that Krampus derives from a pagan supernatural who was assimilated into the Christian devil. You know, the pictures we've seen, I mean, I didn't get any pictures of Satan, but isn't that reminiscent of...
It's real close.
The Christian devil and medieval artwork and things?
Oh, yeah.
Or demons. But this all started. Now, we dug up some Krampus poems. Lynn, you ready to read that first Krampus poem? called Krampus is Watching. All right, you're locking up. There we go.
Through roofs of tin and roofs of thatching, beware, beware, Krampus is watching. If you're creeping down Yuletide stair to spot your gifts 4 mornings there, and should you see black tufts of hair, run, Black Peter awaits for those who dare to spoil the joy of holidays morn. Corporate greed receives his scorn. It's not for children who'd be well to fear. CEOs for when Black Peter's there. It's their greed that brings Krampus near through this holiday and in the new year.
Now, that's from a website. We found these poems called Haunted Ghost Stories, Krampus poems. And you can find other things there. We just pulled out a few that we're going to read for you today, and that was the first one. All right, we're going to go to our first sponsor right now. So hang on to your seats. And Art Party is owned by, I keep forgetting my perspective, by Dagny way over there.
Yes.
Tell everybody about Art Party.
Thank you, Tom. It's a production we put on usually once a year. 2020 got in the way, many respects. So we're planning on 2021. We rent a warehouse. We get all the local artists to work on it for up to a year, incorporating their own ideas into interactive art, and then for a whole night we party with the public.
Okay. And it's always at a secret location, right?
Always different location. We never release the location until right before it happens.
Oh.
Gotta protect
so there you go. But I mean, people can sign up and get to know everything at artpartyx.com, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I was meaning to ask, is that stand for Art Party X or Art Party 10, like a Roman numeral?
Interesting. It originally was Art Party 10. We're up to about 15 now, the 15th through 16th. Yeah. I lost track. But at 10, we put the X on it, and we liked the X so much because it kind of showed that it's different.
Yeah.
You know, to brace yourself.
Cool. Well, that is cool. And so go to artpartyx.com and check it out, folks. And because you never know, it might be springing up. But that is in Pensacola. And so check it out there at artpartyx.com. Now, I found on a website called todayifoundout.com a nice little synopsis of Krampus, because I had tons of information, because you can find this. I mean, everybody's done articles on this. There are tons of YouTube videos out there. But they had a nice little synopsis that I think kind of covered the origins. But they said, high up in the Alp countries of Europe is where Krampus was born, or more accurately, where the legend was created. The word Krampus is derived from the old High German word Krampen, meaning claw. According to Norse mythology, Krampus is the son of Hel, Hel, the goddess ruler of the underworld. There are also a few physical similarities between Krampus and Greek mythical creatures like the horns and hoofs of Saturns and fauns. Now, scholars estimate that Krampus started appearing around the 13th century, if not earlier, perhaps the 11th century. Originating in southern Germany and Austria, the area known as Bavaria, the creature moved to other European countries such as Switzerland, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and even the Alp villages of Italy, sometimes with variations on the name and the practice customs. Now, what I've come across in my research is one, the Krampus, the word actually defines like all of them. In other words, if Krampus shows up, it may not be an individual Krampus or a Krampi, but there may be a group of them. So that's why when, on Krampus night, on December the 5th, which is tonight, by the way, remember that, tonight is Krampus night, you'll see a group running around towns in villages in Europe looking to chase little kids all over the place and beat them with sticks. They say it still happens, and there's parades and all kind of stuff. Now, I
have heard that they will actually whip you till it hurts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're not going around.
They play, but they don't play. they mean it. Yeah. Now, in that, when you search for Krampus, you'll find several different names. Now, depending on which mythology or which legend you go by, one could call it one thing and one could call it another. But I went through and found a list of all these characters that have similar customs, similar practices, similar descriptions. So all over Europe, they may be named different things, and some of them will give nice gifts to the good kids, and some of them won't give anything. Some of them are more evil. Some of them just play tricks or, leave the box of coal. But they're all basically the same entity, from what I can tell. It's an evil antithesis of Santa Claus. And
it's so weird.
Yeah. Well, so I compiled a list of the names. Some of these are so unique. Knecht Ruprecht in Germany, if I'm pronouncing that right. Krampus in Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, Slovenia, Friuli, Hungary. But it's spelled Krampus, I think, in Hungary. Klaubauf in Bavaria and Austria, Bartel in Styria, Pelzebach, Bifana, Pelsnickel, Belsnickel, and here's one you probably heard of, and one of our ETs was sending the little video clip around from The Office, Belsnickel, and that one is probably second in line as being the most common after Krampus, or the most recognizable. Most people may have heard of Krampus, but they probably haven't heard of these others unless they are of European descent. Like when we first posted that we were doing this in our Strange Friends group, somebody commented on it, and this is what they said. They said, there is a similar being in German folklore called Belsnickel. He goes after bad children at Christmas time and takes them away in gunny sacks. My dad grew up in a community in North Alabama that was founded by German immigrants, and many cultural aspects were preserved. My dad said that every Christmas he was terrified that he would be snatched up, so he stayed close to home, especially at night. Now, this is just a previous generation. Somebody, I think they were from the Pennsylvania Dutch. I think our ET Andrea also mentioned that she has some Pennsylvania Dutch ancestry, and they've talked about the Belsnickel as well. And we just watched that movie. Crap, what was it? The second one with Kurt Russell and Goldie?
Christmas Chronicle.
Yeah. The
Christmas
protagonist, well, the antagonist in that movie was called Bell's Nickel. So he was an elf that,
Nickel was the main part of the word.
yeah, Bell Snickle, I think they pronounce it. In Switzerland, get this one, Schmulzi. The word schmutz meaning dirt. Or schmutz, I'm sorry, is schmutzly. I mean, have you ever heard your grandmother say you got that schmutz all over your face?
I don't know why I've heard it, but I've heard it.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard the term before, schmutz, meaning dirt. But this next one is kind of strange, and it kind of put me in reminiscent of Brothers Grimm. Rumpelklus. Or Rumpelklus. Rumpelklaus. Is that how you say it? Now, what does that sound like? Rumpelklas. Rumpelklaus.
Rumpelstiltskin?
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
So it could be, I mean, maybe, they got Rumpelstiltskin. We've got the book of Grimm's fairy tales, and I just recently read the Rumpelstiltskin story. All right, this next one is really compelling. Beelzebub.
Whoa.
Bellzebub. Beelzebub.
Pretty close to Beelzebub.
From the Bible.
Which it seems like that's a very close representation of what it's supposed to be with some of these places.
Well, that's what's intriguing is the artwork and the descriptions. It's like when the Christians came in as missionaries, it's like they incorporated this and said, "Hey, this is Satan."
Yeah.
It said, "This is the devil."
And a lot of the countries that do celebrate this are very founded in Catholicism, which,
right?
I mean, Catholicism is kind of well known for, putting the fear of God into it.
Right.
So
Well,
I see some of that in there.
From what I picked up in going through this, when Christians moved into the area, and they've done this all over the world, they incorporate a lot of the local traditions and legends and mythology into Christianity, not necessarily adding to Christianity, but drawing parallels, saying, you believed in this. Well, that's what this means, with us. This is what we believe. And so it could be, and it looks like they may have done Krampus that way and said, look, you got this Krampus, and this is the devil over here. This is Satan, Beelzebub, and could be the same person. Now, in other places, they called him Hans Muff, Drap, Boozybert, Zwarte Piet, or Black Pete in the Netherlands. In the Czech Republic, St. Nicholas is accompanied by, and I don't know how to pronounce this, but the meaning is the devil and an angel. In France, St. Nicholas's companion is called Rubels in German-speaking Lorraine, and Hansthorpe in Alsace, east of France, and the Pierre Fouettard in northern and eastern France. So going by many names, slight variations depending on the country or the culture, but it looks to me like, and I'm not saying they are the same, but it looks to me like all of these dark characters could be all one and the same. Krampus, Belsnickel, Beelzebub could all be the same. And Dagny, that leads us to our second Krampus poem, Night of the Krampus.
All right. And Give me 1 second. There it is. Night of the Krampus. A warning to parents. The feast of St. Nicholas is on the morrow, but the eve's one of dread and sorrow. 'Tis Krampus not, and he's a-comin', his feet stamping a dreadful drummin', with clanging chains and foul breath, with horny horns and stench of death, with glowing eyes and many a bell that rings of things too dark to tell. So hold your sweet little ones dear, and pray that they've been good this year, for if their behavior is deemed to lack, the Krampus shall put them in his sack.
Ooh. You might end up in a sack. All right, we're going to go to our second sponsor of the show today, ghosthuntingsource.com. And Ghost Hunting Source is owned by Darren Huff, who was our one of our special guests in our Did You Hear That Part 3 or Ghost Hunting series, and on the section on gadgets. Is there anyone here with us? Did you hear that? Can you tell us your name?
Now to it.